Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. We're your hosts, John and Kristen Barber, and today we're going to be talking about the Washington Mystics, a team that was maybe the least active in terms of free agency and changes ahead of the 2025 WNBA season. But I will say there are many reasons to be excited about them, and we're going to get into all of those details. But before that, Kristen, how are you?
Hello, John. I am great. I'm relaxing. I'm chilling. We just got back from our trip. Can we say where our trip was now?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
Got back from our trip.
We were in Cancun in Mexico
The weather was so nice.
at our friend's wedding. So that was
Yes.
great.
Congratulations to Grace and Marcus, the happy couple.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Lovely.
Yes. So today, Washington Mystics, excited to talk about them. If you've been following along with the season Snapshot series, we've already followed 4 teams: the Valkyries, the LA Sparks, the Dallas Wings, and the Chicago Sky. So this is our 5th team out of 13 that we'll be covering to lead up to the 2025 WNBA season. So almost halfway. But if you would like to let us know how we're feeling about your team, if we've already covered them or we will be covering them, you could connect with us via our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or you could connect with us on Bluesky and Instagram at ATBPod. We're there hanging out, talking about the games, talking about the players, talking about the WNBA and women's basketball in general. And if you would be so kind as to give us a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you love to listen to, or subscribe to our YouTube, that would be so wonderful, and we would greatly appreciate it. So now that that's out of the way, the Washington Mystics. Starting at the top, we look at the departures. Ariel Atkins traded to the Chicago Sky. Carly Samuelson traded on draft day to the Minnesota Lynx. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough signing elsewhere. Julie Von Lowe selected in the expansion draft to the Valkyries. And have to mention, Elena Deladon officially retiring from the WNBA. A short list of departures, but a meaningful list of departures. And now we look at arrivals, and it is 5 rookie players who were all selected in last week's WNBA draft. We have Sonia Citron, selected 3rd overall. We have Kiki Iriafen, selected 4th overall. We have Georgia Amor, selected 6th overall. We have Lucy Olson, selected 23rd overall. And lastly, we have Zay Green, selected 32nd overall. So a short list of changes for the Washington team. However, some significant high-ranking rookies in this year's draft class. Where you want to start? Washington Mystics.
Well, I think we can start with the 5 draft picks they have.
Sure.
I think the Mystics did a great job in preparation for this draft. Getting 3 picks of the top 6 players
Yep.
is amazing to do.
I would agree.
I think this was a very strong draft class, and these were great picks.
Yes.
I think there's been a lot of praise that I've seen. Oh, the Mystics won the draft with their 3 picks, their 3 first-round picks. And yeah, because they had 3.
Right.
I don't think they really could have screwed it up.
I mean, there were plenty of people out there saying that they were going to screw it up, but I do agree that they didn't. This draft was almost bust proof, just picking 3 out of 6. you have a good shot of getting good players.
Right. So, I mean, congratulations to the Mystics in that sense, that they had a good draft.
Yeah.
They didn't sign any free agents or get any players in trades. And they currently have no training camp contracts.
Right.
So we're only looking at these draft picks as potentially new players for the Mystics. But it seems like a situation where multiple of these draft picks will be starting.
Yes.
Which is not really the case for a lot of other teams this year. Perhaps the Sun, because they're just horrible. Spoiler.
Yes. Yes. The Sun are really the only other team that I would expect us to see maybe 2 rookies start. I guess in theory, if Yokite were to come over, then you could see her maybe starting with Shai at some point for the Valkyries. But no, this is the team with lock in 2 guaranteed starting players.
I would say. So the Mystics are very young.
Very young.
The Mystics were the youngest team last year. And they like somehow got younger.
Yep.
I feel like.
Yep.
So they're, I would say, probably the youngest team again.
Yeah. I would guess. Unless the Valkyries are younger.
True.
That would be what I would think. You know, because they still have older players on the team. You know, Brittany Sykes will still be on the team. Stephanie Dolson is still on the team. But yeah, it's a lot of first year players and second year players that make up the bulk of their roster here.
So I guess we can go through the roster.
Yeah, let's get into the starting 5. But firstly, the 3 protected veterans on this team that will be having guarantees to their salaries: Brittany Sykes, Stephanie Dolson, Shakira Austin. So right up top, all 3 of those players we expect to be on the team this year, unless they decide to cut bait or trade one of them. I wouldn't expect it. So our starting 5, Kristen?
So our starting 5, we're projecting starting point guard Georgia Amore, starting shooting guard Sonia Citron, small forward Brittany Sykes, power forward Aaliyah Edwards, center Shakira Austin.
Yes. And that is in line with what ESPN put when they had their graphic with the guard positions both as question marks and the 3 veterans, Sykes, Edwards, and Austin, as the starting front court, which led to a controversial tweet and discourse on one Stephanie Dolson, Big Mama Steph, a player that we are both very much fans of, a player that, you know, maybe wasn't the highest profile player in Unrivaled, but she was a member of your Laces squad.
She was, and she was consistent. One of the only players that didn't get hurt.
Correct. Stayed healthy.
So you can count on Big Mama Steph.
Yes.
I wanted to plug this. We did go to Unrivaled. If you're new, go back and listen to our Weekend at Unrivaled podcast. That was so much fun. We talked to Steph Dolson and many other players.
Yes.
So we love Stephanie Dolson. So it makes me upset that she was feeling slighted by the media saying that she doesn't deserve a starting spot.
Right.
And it's tricky because last year she started most of the games because Shakira Austin was hurt.
Correct. Not the case right now.
Not the case this year. And I think, you know, on many other teams, she would be starting. She is a center, which a lot of other teams don't really have a true center. So, like, it kind of sucks that she's, like, in this position behind another very tall Shakira Austin.
Yeah.
She's good at shooting threes. Like, she's valuable on this team, Stephanie Dolson.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I don't know. Maybe they do somehow make her fit into some lineups.
Yeah, I mean,
starting lineups.
I expect her to be first or second off the bench.
Oh, for sure.
Like one of the immediate rotations. But they have an interesting situation because, you know, they're trying to see if Shakira Austin, a player that they drafted very highly in recent draft, is going to be a long-term member of this team. They have to make a decision on that, because by drafting Iriafen 4th overall, now you have not a logjam, but you have a questionable front court of players who can't really stretch the floor at all. Aaliyah Edwards, who I love, who is very good, proved herself in the 1v1 tournament and as a player on the Mist basketball club and Unrivaled. Between her, Shakira, and Kiki, I'm not sure if any of them are really going to be able to stretch the floor in any significant way. That doesn't mean that they can't all adapt, because they're all young players, but they need to figure out specifically if Shakira Austin is long-term or not, and if they need to try to move on from her. I think Stephanie Dolson could still hang around on this team one way or another, whatever they decide to do with Shakira. But like, you drafted Kiki, you're going to try to make it so that Kiki is also the future of your team. Aaliyah Edwards is probably your best highest potential player at the end of the day. So it's so interesting, that dynamic between those three. And maybe if one of them learns to shoot, then, you could play them 1, 2, 3 all together. I don't really know how that looks, but I guess it's pretty fortunate that they drafted a small guard in Georgia Amor to work around the likely dense paint that we're going to see for the Mystics, with a lot of these bigs playing together in the front court.
I mean, hey, this is basketball. You're trying to be tall.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it. But I just hope that they can build on their skill.
No, I think Aaliyah Edwards is another player who significantly developed in Unrivaled, a league where they were able to get more, personal play, because it's 3-on-3 instead of the 5-on-5. So she saw a lot of action Unrivaled, and I think got a lot better. So her shooting developed in Unrivaled. Shakira Austin was on your team, the Lunar Owls.
Correct. Who are you?
And I think didn't get as much playing time being behind Nafisa Collier, etc. But I think at least Aaliyah Edwards is going to have her place on this team. I'm not worried about Aaliyah Edwards.
No, me neither. Yeah, and I talk about the shooting, but Georgia Amor is going to shoot a ton. Sonia Citron can shoot, and Brittany Sykes likes to shoot and likes to cut and likes to get around the rim. We build out the rest of this team. I've already mentioned Steph Dolson making the club, Kiki, obviously. We have Emily Engsler as one of the backup forwards for this team. Lucy Olson, we have making the cut. Jade Melvin sticking around. And then I have highlighted here both Shug Sutton and Sika Kone to be a backup big, which I could now, really talking through it, could see them cutting in favor of Zay Green, the rookie that they selected 32nd overall, who I don't really know a ton about, but, maybe they just cut bait with, a vet and bring in another rookie contract and then say, maybe we see what we have in a long-term contract with Zay. So who knows where it goes. Ultimately, their salary is under the salary cap, under the minimum salary cap. So they have money to spend. But all this to say, I don't think the Mystics are going to be a team that will feel pressure this year to win. They're going to also, but then, if they find themselves in a position of a Lauren Betts, 1 overall, I think they would try to move that pick, because there might not be room for Lauren when you have Aaliyah Edwards and Kiki. Obviously, this is way in the future, but still.
Yeah.
The team runs through their bigs.
They are planning for the future, the Mystics.
Correct.
Fine. I get it. They just lost their cornerstone player, Elena Deladon.
Yes.
This is when you rebuild.
Love you, GOAT.
So it's fine. They are $150,000 under the minimum, which is even more than the Valkyries are.
Yeah. I think they might be I mean, their most expensive contract, just looking at the books, is Brittany Sykes under $200K.
Right.
Like, even if you look at the Valkyries, Tip Hayes was $200,000. So,
yeah, that is really interesting.
yeah.
So, I mean, that doesn't really matter. If they get to the end of the season and they still are under this minimum, they just pay out the difference to the players. Every player would get like $10,000, which is cool.
Not bad.
So it's really not that big of a deal. But still, if you're trying to optimize your roster, you would think that they would try to get, a higher salaried player. But perhaps they're not doing that.
Nope.
So whatever. Good for the Mystics.
So strength and weaknesses for the Mystics. What I would say right off the bat, I think a strength is certainly athleticism because of their age. I think they should be capable to run the floor. I expect, the shooting to be better, be more of a strength than last year, which they were okay at. But I think Georgia Amor and Sonia Citron, I expect to add, some better shooting than maybe what Julie Von Lowe gave you in that starting guard role. And, I feel like also a strength is that they kind of know what they can, anchor onto because of this rookie class. I think it's like, okay, let's try really hard to develop these three plus whoever else they deem as the franchise cornerstone, because that'll help them define their identity, and build on their chemistry, which I think is more of a strength down the road, but still a strength.
Yeah.
And then weaknesses is obviously going to be experience.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that kind of being a strength in kind of comparison to the Valkyries, where they're kind of both in the same boat of having very young, like inexperienced players, a team that's not competing this year.
Sure.
But at least with the Mystics, like they have these players here, and these players feel like this is going to be our backbone of our team. And we're going to develop these players. Compared to the Valkyries, where so many of them are international, we don't know if they're coming or going. And we haven't seen them in the W before,
right.
A lot of the Valkyries players. So I do think that's a strength of the Mystics.
Yeah.
They're latching on to these rookies and second-year players that I think are going to be very good.
Yeah. So I know at the very least, I feel like we watched a decent number of Mystics games. I do want to watch a decent number more Washington Mystics games this season with some of these flashy young talents. So looking at the context of the league, 13 teams, where do you have the Mystics falling out of 13 in your current rankings?
I have the Mystics finishing 11th place.
Finally, we hit another one. I also have the Mystics finishing 11th. Very briefly, I had the Sky under them. Obviously, I'm a little lower on the Sky, but I moved the Sky up, and I have the Mystics down there at 11. So we matched up with the Valkyries. We matched up with the Mystics. I think that's a great place for them to be. I don't think they, again, feel the pressure, and then they can have a shot at another top 5 pick. And whatever they decide to do in 26, they can get better. Or who knows? These rookies pop right away and they're competitive. We don't know. We don't know. But certainly positivity in Washington surrounding the Mystics, which, if you asked me that 6 months ago, I don't think I would have been there.
Yeah, I think they are trending in the right direction.
Correct.
They know where they're going.
So
I'm not worried.
Good for you, Washington Mystics. I hope you can find someone, even though it's very difficult to replace Elena Delle Donne. Go Hens. Anything else on the Mystics?
No, that's all.
That's it? All right. Well, that'll do it for our coverage on the Washington Mystics. Continue with us. We are going to be moving on to the Atlanta Dream coming in a few days. Excited to talk about them. If you would like to connect with us about what we've said or about your team, you could do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or connect with us on Bluesky or Instagram at ATBPod. So that'll do it. Kristen, I'm staring at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the baseline. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back soon with more team compositions.